My name is Natalia Dyer. I'm with Sharon Smith, and I'm 5'3".
I'm Noah Schnapp. I'm 10 years old.
I'm Finn Wolfhard. I'm 6. 4'11". I'm 12 years old.
My name is Gaten Matarazzo, and I'm 12 years old.
The Stranger Things cast members are some of the biggest celebrities in the world today, but 10 years ago, most of them were just normal kids trying to find their way. Joe Keery was living in Chicago looking for a job, doing small commercials, and trying to get his acting career started. Millie Bobby Brown was on the edge of quitting acting because she had not booked a role in a long time, and her family was going through serious financial problems. Dacre Montgomery was just trying to build a normal life in Perth, not knowing that his entire world would change after sending one wild audition tape. None of them expected Stranger Things to bring them the level of fame and success they have today. And what makes it even more special is that each one of their audition stories is different, surprising, and emotional. Some actors had a simple audition, while for someone like Sadie Sink, it was almost a miracle that she got selected. I've compiled everything about their audition process in one place. Make sure to watch till the end, because every single story is worth hearing.
I didn't tie it to a string. It was actually flying.
No, I'll prove it.
Swear first. The most excellent promise you can make.
This could be the most excellent promise you can make.
Most excellent promise you can make.
Swear it!
Stand over there, Nancy.
Okay, now close your eyes.
Joe Keery's journey started in the most unexpected way. He originally auditioned for the role of Jonathan Byers. He recorded a self-tape and sent it in, but he didn't hear anything back for a long time. For 2 months, it seemed like nothing was going to happen. Then suddenly, production asked him to audition again, but this time for a different character. Joe sent another tape, this time for Steve Harrington. At that point, he was living in Chicago, working odd jobs, doing commercials, and trying to survive in the acting world. When he watched the Duffer Brothers concept trailer for the show, he felt that the idea was cool, but he kept his expectations low because he was used to rejection. When he started reading Steve's scenes, he felt he understood the character and knew what the Duffers wanted. He also had his own idea of how Steve should be, a bit noisy, confident, but with a hidden softness. After he sent the Steve tape, he Skyped with the Duffer Brothers. Then he waited another 2 weeks wondering if anything would happen. Finally, he got the call and learned that he had been chosen to play Steve Harrington. In the beginning, Steve was written as a straight-up antagonist, someone who was supposed to be disliked, and the early drafts even included Steve dying in Season 1. But Joe's performance changed everything. The writers realized the character had charm and heart, and Steve's entire arc transformed. That is how a job-hunting actor from Chicago ended up becoming one of the most beloved characters in the show. Sadie Sink's audition story is nothing short of unbelievable. She auditioned for the role of Max when she was 14 years old, but the character was written as a 13-year-old. When casting directors saw her initial audition, they rejected her and told her she was too old.
The audition process for Max, I want to say it took place over a month. I think at one point they thought I was going to be too old. But I was just like, no, just give me more material. Like, I want to go in again. And then I did, and we did a chemistry read. And I got there, and we were all the same height and the same age, and they had nothing to worry about.
She didn't even get to meet the Duffer Brothers at that point, but Sadie refused to accept the rejection. She begged for another chance. She recorded a second self-tape, this time with a lot more attitude and confidence. That tape finally pushed her into the next round. After that, she was invited to Los Angeles for an audition session that lasted nearly 5 hours. She did scenes again and again while the Duffer Brothers tested her toughness, sarcasm, and emotional strength. Because Max was written as a skateboarder, Sadie had to go through a skateboard test even though she did not know how to skateboard. She almost failed it, but the Duffers believed she could learn quickly, and she eventually trained for months before filming. Then she had a chemistry read with Caleb McLaughlin and Gaten Matarazzo. They wanted to see if she fit naturally with the boys. In the room, she brought that "don't mess with me" energy Max is known for. She spoke sharply, acted tough, and the boys reacted perfectly to her energy. That chemistry session was the final piece. What makes it even more surprising is that Sadie was one of the last people cast for Season 2. She believed she didn't get the part, but a week later she got the official call. She screamed when she heard the news. At the time, she had been juggling Broadway shows, traveling between Texas and New York, and feeling unsure whether her career was moving forward. Stranger Things changed everything for her. Dacre Montgomery's audition is one of the most iconic stories in the Stranger Things casting world. He was living in Perth, Australia, trying to build a simple life when he received the audition sides for Billy. He got the scenes in the morning and filmed the entire self-tape that same day. But he didn't just do a normal self-tape, he decided to turn it into a short film. He asked his friends from his acting university to read opposite him, but they had no idea what he planned. He shaved parts of his hair around his face while keeping a mustache. He oiled his body. He wore John Lennon-style sunglasses. He changed clothes mid-tape, sometimes shirtless, sometimes wearing a leather jacket. And in one part, he even wore a nude-colored G-string. He also played two classic 1984 songs, Hungry Like the Wolf and Come On Eileen, because he wanted to match the era of the show. At some points, he even held the iPhone camera himself and kept it rolling longer than necessary. It was chaotic, bold, and broke every accepted rule of self-taping, yet it somehow worked. A casting coach later said Dacre's tape broke every rule and yet was the best self-tape I've ever seen. The Duffer Brothers watched his tape, loved it, Skyped him shortly after, and offered him the role. Charlie Heaton's journey to Jonathan was much quieter. He had almost no formal acting training. He had previously worked as a musician and moved from Leeds and Bridlington to London to find opportunities. He sent in an audition tape, hoping for the best. Then he received an invitation for a Skype interview. He did the interview while sitting in a Byron Burger restaurant in Hammersmith, which he later called the weirdest thing. During the call, he spoke with the Duffer Brothers about his life, working-class background, being introverted, being obsessed with music, all qualities that fit Jonathan perfectly. Ross Duffer later said they were looking for someone mysterious, edgy, a bit eccentric but gentle, a loner with heart, and when they watched Charlie, they felt relieved because he fit that combination exactly. After the Skype, Charlie was flown to the US for a screen test, and soon after he got the role. Millie Bobby Brown's audition was emotional in every way. Before Stranger Things, her family was in deep financial trouble. Millie faced rejection after rejection and even thought about quitting acting completely. She lived in a small rental home in Los Angeles, doing schoolwork between auditions. When she first auditioned for 11, she did not know much about the show. The casting team asked her to try an emotional scene again to see how far she could push her feelings. Millie performed one of the most powerful crying scenes they had ever seen from someone so young. She showed fear, pain, and vulnerability with surprising depth. She also did everything, including her Skype call with the Duffer Brothers in a flawless American accent, so much so that they forgot she was British.
You can't. I can see it. I saw them.
Stranger Things changed not only her career, but her entire family's life. Millie later said, "Stranger Things saved my family." Her audition was the spark that lit the path. Gaten Matarazzo's story is full of heart. He originally auditioned for Mike Wheeler, not Dustin. He read for the part of Mike, but the Duffers didn't think he was right for it. Yet they loved him too much to let him go. They loved his humor, his improvisation, and his natural charm. So they rewrote the role of Dustin to fit Gaten. His cleidocranial dysplasia, which affected his teeth, became part of the character instead of something to hide. Gaten had Broadway experience, having played Gavroche in Les Miserables and performing on stage from a young age. His audition made the entire room laugh. During chemistry reads with Finn Wolfhard and Caleb McLaughlin, the trio clicked instantly. The Duffers saw the spark and knew they had their core friend group.
Nancy, listen to me. Listen.
Listen!
This is probably the most serious, most important thing ever.
David Harbour's audition came during one of the hardest periods of his life. He felt stuck in his career, believing he would never get a major role. He was dealing with depression and financial stress. His agent told him about a strange sci-fi Netflix show called Montauk, which would later become Stranger Things. David auditioned with dummy scenes that had nothing to do with monsters or the Upside Down. They were emotional scenes about grief, loss, and a broken man. David played Hopper as someone tired, angry, sad, and barely surviving. In a callback, he performed a heartbreaking monologue about losing a daughter, and he cried on cue. The Duffers were convinced immediately. He went through several audition rounds, and even though some Netflix executives had doubts, the Duffers pushed hard for him. When he finally got the call, he was walking his dog and burst into tears. He didn't even know Hopper was the lead until the first table read. His story is proof that sometimes the right role arrives just when someone needs hope. Noah Schnapp's audition for Will Byers was gentle but powerful. He was 10 years old and had already worked in a Spielberg film. The show needed a child who looked innocent, but had enough charisma that viewers would care about him, even though he would disappear for much of the first season. Noah's tape showed vulnerability and emotion that made the Duffers believe the other kids would believably risk everything to find him. They also knew he would need to carry season 2, and his talent made that possible.
Am I weird? It's just sometimes I feel, I don't know, like I'm stuck.
Finn Wolfhard recorded his audition while sick in bed. It did not matter. The tape was full of life, humor, and excitement. Finn naturally had the adventurous spirit of Mike Wheeler, the boy who leads the group and protects his friends. During early auditions, Finn even began directing the other kids, telling them where to stand and how to read lines. Everyone laughed because it felt so natural. Carmen Cuba later said that she saw Finn's directing instinct even at that young age, and years later, she cast him in his first feature as a director. Natalia Dyer's audition was simple and typical.
So if anybody has anything to get off their chest before we pray, now's the time.
Well, I have this friend who won't even sit with us at lunch because we're Christians.
Yeah, Brody.
Look, it's not because you're Christians. It's because you're a coalition of social misfits.
You act like you don't even know us.
She was living in New York, studying at NYU, balancing college life with auditions. She didn't receive the full script and had to make guesses about Nancy's personality. She felt unsure about her performance and thought she messed up, but she got a call back and then a screen test. She didn't feel confident until she started receiving scripts during filming and saw Nancy's arc unfold. And finally, she got her role as Nancy. The casting for Vecna was unique because the character didn't fully exist yet. They needed someone tall, thin-faced, and capable of playing two linked versions of one character. They couldn't reveal any story details, so they used fake scenes from Primal Fear and Hellraiser for the audition notice. Jamie Campbell Bower auditioned with those sides and delivered a performance that combined Stranger Things energy with the tone of those films. His physicality, voice, and intensity stood out immediately, and he became the face of one of the show's darkest villains. So what do you think about your favorite actor's audition process? Make sure to leave your opinion in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos like this.